the cloud. And there we go.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be with you today. On behalf of the Congregational Faith and Learning Center, also known as Faith Learn Thrive, and that's our web presence, we just want to welcome you to this open house as we share information about the initiative where we are focused on how can we help churches thrive, working with the congregation, working with lay leaders. This is a initiative that we've been working on for a couple of years, and we're ready to kick off our second learning community in the fall. So thank you for taking the time to be with us, to learn more about how we can journey together as we seek to do the work that God calls us to do in building strong, thriving churches. We can go to the next slide. So as we mentioned earlier on, we're part of the Hood Theological Seminary, which is located in Salisbury, North Carolina. The leadership of Faith Learn Thrive is under Dr. Ronald Williams as Associate Director and myself, Vincent Howell, as a Program Director. We have, as I mentioned, been doing this work for a couple of years, and it's a part of an important initiative at Hood Seminary to work with congregations as they seek to build thriving churches.
Oh, I think I've gotten this wrong. I went ahead too far. Let's go back. Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So as myself, as the director, I've been at Hood since 2020. I am a bivocational pastor, having served in the AME Zion Church as well as the United Methodist Church. Grew up in Shelby, North Carolina, but I've lived in a number of other places throughout the years. I also serve as the director of the Doctor Ministry program at Hood Seminary. I retired from pastoral ministry as I continue to do this work that God's called me to do here at the seminary. And I'll let Dr. Williams introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Rona Williams. I am originally from Charleston, South Carolina, and I am a recovering attorney somewhat. I still lawyer up every now and again. So those skills really are helpful. I am the executive pastor at my church, City of God Ministries in Concord, North Carolina. And I've come to join Dr. Howell in this work as associate director. And I enjoy training and developing congregational leaders for the work of ministry. I've served for over 20 years as a second chair leader in my church. And yes, it is a small church. We're just about to break through the 125 barrier. So that's amazing that we've had so much explosive growth. And I'm here to help other churches really develop the systems and the leadership mindset that's needed to create a thriving church in your community. So I'm so glad you're here this afternoon, and I'm excited to share with you all that we're doing at Faith Learn Thrive.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. I failed to mention that my current congregation is a member of the Gola Memorial AME Zion Church in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. When I retired from pastoring, I was pastoring the Centenary United Methodist Church in Clemens, North Carolina. Served in these churches in upstate New York as well as North Carolina. And my interest also is in helping congregations and congregational leaders. So I've written a couple of books related to church leadership. One, the MBA Quick Book for Ministers, as well as the book Managing Projects in Ministry. So that's kind of a foundation for me for being interested in leadership in the church. Next slide, please. Okay, as we mentioned, Faith Learn Thrive is our brand identity. Again, we provide interactive learning communities and additional learning and development opportunities for small to medium-sized churches. But I will say that work that we do, the learning opportunities really transcends pretty much any congregation in any size. So you'll hear us talk about not only the learning community this afternoon, but you'll hear us talking about our conference. You'll hear about us talk about ministry labs, as well as we have a podcast series that we also do. So that again touches on congregations for pretty much any size. And again, so with that, we extend our resources to churches of any size that desire help with reimagining ministry. And I think that's a very important point, thinking about the day and time that we live in. A lot has changed in the world that we live in. A lot of change has impacted the church, the COVID experience, as well as other experiences that happen in our life. And that requires us to continually think about what's the best way for us to reach people of all generations for congregations. It's not just do what we've always done in the past, but where is God calling us now? And what tools should we be using to reimagine ministry so that we can reach people for the kingdom of God? I think our next slide is a video that kind of gives us a summary. So take a listen.
The Congregational Faith and Learning Center at Hood is the seminary's new Thriving Congregations initiative. Rona, as I reflect on our work at the Congregational Faith and Learning Center, one of the things that really stands out to me is that the world that the church is operating in has significantly changed.
We created the center because our world is rapidly changing. And although our message remains the same, our methods must change. So we want to partner with congregations and help them build stronger churches.
It's really critical for us to do the work of Faith, Learn, Thrive. You agree?
Faith, Learn, Thrive helps churches clarify their identity, their vision, their mission, their strategy to become a transformative influence in their communities. That's who we are.
When I think about thriving, a church needs to be not only rooted in the Word of God, but it needs to be focused and intentional on how it can do ministry in the day that we live in. So what we're trying to do at the Congregational Faith and Learning Center is engage local churches to help them with mission and vision and thinking about how they can connect with not only the members of the congregation, but how do they connect with the community?
Partnering with our center ensures that your church gets exactly what your church needs: help. Every church needs help. So we're here to provide the workshops and classes and ministry labs, cohort groups.
But also a benefit is learning how to be a learning organization, how to be a learning church.
Our goal here,
we help build stronger churches.
Okay. So as we did refer to in the video, we are rooted in the Word of God, and that's really critical for the work that you do, what we do. And Ephesians 4:12 actually speaks to that, and that's kind of where we see that as our anchor scripture to equip the saints for the work of ministry, for building up the body of Christ. You will hear us refer to Ephesians 4:12 many times during the many events that we do put on. So our goal is to provide training and faith engagement directly to congregations in the community by being a place to educate, empower, and equip congregations to thrive. So important as we think in terms of reaching and serving and sharing the word and the love of God in the time that we live in. So our what, as we've referred to, hands-on, experiential learning with tangible outcomes. So our goal is not to just give you a seminar and says, well, here's a great seminar, some great learning, but we really want you to be part of a learning community that has tangible outcomes, deliverables, set goals, set a strategy so that you can actually see a tangible outcome. And the results are significant in a number of ways. Churches learn how to do their best work as a team. So you will see that this learning community is team focused. It's team focused because as the church, we are a group as opposed to just acting as individuals. So congregations empower their leaders to make decisions from a place of confidence, and they begin to thrive by working together collaboratively rather than independently. Collaboration is so important, collaboration within the congregation, collaboration within the community, and understanding that as God's church, we are not just to be all by ourselves. There are so many resources that are part of the congregation itself, but also the community. So getting and achieving the vision that God gives us may require that we not only look internally, but also externally. And so that helps us to be a transformative influence in our communities. So our why really focuses on knowing that there is so much change in the world that we live in, so much change that has impacted ministry. So we want to help churches navigate these changes and become, like we said in the video, a thriving congregation, helping to clarify mission, vision, and strategy so that you can move forward with a clear action plan, with gaining what's the right word? Gaining the buy-in of all the congregations, because we all have an influence and a role to play in understanding, identifying the mission and the strategy, and making that come to fruition to be a transformative influence in our communities. So here's some ways that we can help. And you can see the learning communities we mentioned, coaching. We have coaches that work along with learning communities as part of this experience. Ministry labs, we'll talk more about. Actually, we've got a ministry lab, coming up in a month or so. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Williams, and she'll provide some additional insight as we go forward.
Fantastic. So there are some additional ways that we also help churches. Currently, we have our Critical Conversations podcast, and you can always head over to our YouTube channel and take a look at past episodes of the podcast. It's amazing. It's really conversational. So many of them have multiple guests on, and it's in a conversational format. We're responding to a live audience. You're going to find some great resources and some great information for your churches there. We're also hosting congregational networking events. So we're currently planning one for the High Point, Greensboro area, Winston-Salem area to come together. Again, that's going to be, I believe, next month sometime. So stay on the lookout for that. They're called church collectives. And it's an opportunity for people to gather and talk about what's going on in their churches and ask us questions and get some feedback about what's happening and what they need help with in their churches. And lastly, but not least, we have our Stronger Churches Conference. We had our inaugural conference back in June. And if you missed it, you missed an amazing event. But don't worry about it.
It was amazing, wasn't it, Dr. Williams?
Yeah, it was an amazing event. The videos are ready. We're going to be dropping the content from the conference. So stay tuned to All Things Faith, Learn, Thrive, and we'll have more information about that really soon. So I want to take a moment here just to welcome all the folks who've come in the room since we've gotten started. Listen, if you're just getting in the room, I want you to jump over in the chat and let us know the name of your church and where you are joining us from, so that we can get an idea of who you are and how you came to Faith, Learn, Thrive. I also want to encourage you as I begin to go through the details of how the learning community actually works. If you have a question, jot it down, make a note of it somewhere, or drop it in the chat for me so that when we get to the Q&A portion of today's presentation, we can specifically address the questions that you have. All right, I'm so excited to get into more information about our learning community. The learning community is called a Foundations for Thriving Learning Community. It runs from October to May. It is a 10-module learning process. And this term, we are accepting 5 congregations, 5 church teams to come along this journey to thriving. And we'll have 6 coaches. Each congregation will have a coach. And then we'll have a coach who will coach a group of pastors, right? A place for pastors to ask questions, get feedback, be heard. Your congregational coaches will walk alongside you to help you clearly understand the objectives and the outcomes that we expect from your church teams. They're here to support you, not do the work for you. Okay? I want to make that very clear. Your coaches are here to support your congregational teams in the work that you're doing. They're not here to do the work for you, okay? So they'll be there to answer questions, to prompt you with, to kind of a bit outside of the church box. We all come to ministry with a church box, right? So if you grew up Baptist, or if you grew up Zion, or you grew up AME, or you grew up in a certain church context, we come with baggage of all of what we've experienced in church so far, right? To our local churches. And we tend to only create within the realm of our church box, right? Which is usually about this big. And God's vision for the local church is like this big, right? So we're here to encourage you to do church differently. I want to say that again. Yeah. We're here to push you out of the church box from here to here, right? So that you can reimagine vision and really ask yourself, what is God calling our church to do now? Specifically, apart from the denominational vision, what is the vision of our local church? Where are we going? And why are we headed in that direction, right? And so we want to help you clarify that vision, because that is the engine of your church, right? Vision is what's going to get the entire body moving in the direction God is calling you to go in. And so we want to anchor you in some foundational concepts that will give you the proper platform to begin to thrive at your local church. Now, here's where what this experience is not. It is not a bag of magic tricks. Okay? So we don't have magic tricks over here. We have to do the work. Everybody type in the chat, do the work. There is lots of work involved in a thriving church. What we often see is the social media page, or we see, the photos from the conferences, or we see the YouTube channel from popular preachers and churches we like, but we really have no idea how much work really goes into producing what we see. We want huge community events, but we don't really think about all of the planning and implementation and strategy it takes to do what we see other people are doing. And here's the thing, we see churches that are growing by leaps and bounds, and we're wondering, why isn't our church growing? And we're going to discover some of the reasons why our churches aren't growing. And number one on that list is we don't know our vision. We don't know who we are. Apart from the name of the church, apart from our building, who are we? And what are we called to do for God now. So this learning community is designed to bring you into a space where it's safe to deconstruct who you are and come back to the altar and pray and ask Holy Spirit, who is our church today? Where are we going? What are you calling us to do within our local congregation and within our community? And we're going to walk alongside you every step of the way to help you navigate those changes, clarify the call of God on your church, and galvanize both your congregation and your community to create and manifest that vision. So here's what it looks like. We have an overall plan for our learning community, and the journey really begins with our opening retreat. Now, just prior to the opening retreat, a part of your application asks you to take an assessment, an individual assessment of where your church may be in its life cycle, growth cycle, right? I don't want you to be intimidated about that assessment. It's just a check-in to see kind of where is your congregation, right? We want to make sure that you're ready, that the congregations we select, because we can only choose 5, the congregations we select are ready for this journey to do something different, right? It's not going to disqualify you, but it is going to give us a little more insight about where your church is on the life cycle. And so before you come into the retreat, we're going to equip you with resources on the way in. You're going to get mission insight reports, and those are demographic and psychographic information about your local community, right? We produce these reports on a 10-mile radius from your church location where you're currently worshiping. And it's going to let you know what's important to your community. How do they like to be communicated with? What do they think about God? What's their median income? How many children and families with kids are in that area? What are their life concerns? What are the topics and the things that are keeping them up at night? We're going to equip you with those resources. And you'll come into this opening retreat with some data that will help you discern what God may be calling you to do in your community. So our opening retreat will be held in the month of October. We're still finalizing the actual weekend date, and we are asking that every person on your team that can be present to join us and be present during the opening retreat. You do not want to miss this moment because during that retreat, we're going to actually cover 2 key modules. Clarity. We'll take some time to clarify God's mission and vision for your church. This will also be an opportunity for you to kind of get a hands-on look at what the other modules will be like. So we're actually going to have like a demonstration of the rest of the program during the retreat, right? So your team will then get to meet coaches, get to choose or give feedback about your coach, meet your coach, bond with the coaches before being assigned a coach. Really kind of connect with the other congregations that are there. All of that will be happening in the retreat. One of the things about this particular program is that we talk about something that is often not really addressed in a leadership context, and that is church administration. And not the kind that's restricted to your denominational administration. I'm sure that, you know, if you're part of a church denomination or you already have a church structure in place, then you already have some rules and governance you have to follow. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how are you planning for ministry and how intentional are you being about what you do in ministry, and then what technology are you actually using and leveraging to make those things easier to accomplish. We have a technology partner called ACS Technologies, and I will send you information about their offer for our learning community churches. And even if you're not a learning community church, there is another offer that's available to you, but they're making available their entire technology suite, the accounting platform, the church membership database. It comes with an app. It comes with a platform so that you can build a website. They're all interconnected. And they also host the Mission Insight piece. And all of this comes with the capability for online giving and text to give. It's all cohesive, right? And you have that resource available for your church for the first year for free. We are partnering with ACS Technologies to make these resources available to local churches. We want to spread technology and close the technology gap in our churches. So I want to remind you, if you have any questions so far, run over to the chat. And when I get to the Q&A section, I'll go to the chat and we'll address your questions there. Here's what the rest of the learning community looks like. In the month of November, for every month after that, we are meeting on the second Saturday of that month. And during that time, we have a facilitated workshop, okay? It is workshop. You'll receive a video to watch the week before. It has some highlights from our subject matter experts. And when we come in on that Saturday, we'll be reviewing some of the highlights, things that we really want to make sure you understood and you grasped. But then we're also going to set aside time for the congregational teams to interconnect across congregations, but also connect with your coach, right? So you can begin talking about the subject matter for the month and devising a plan for how your team is going to come together to complete the monthly deliverables, okay? Each month, you will receive a worksheet that goes with the theme. It's going to have very clear instructions for what you should accomplish in that particular worksheet, right? So it's going to walk you through each step by step, and our coaches will be trained to explain it to you, to help you clarify your language for it, and making sure that you understand how to articulate this to your congregations. So here's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at your vision, right? Reimagining the future of your church. What ministry areas do we want to focus on? What are we doing well? What do we need to stop doing? What is just not good for our church? And here's the thing. Every church doesn't have to do everything. You don't have to be amazing at everything. You just need to give your best to what God is calling you to do at your church. And so our vision module is all designed to help you focus in on that and identify that and decide, hey, these are our 3 to 5 ministry priorities. I like to stick with 3. Here are the things we're really going to concentrate on, right? And then we'll be clear. The modules are designed to build one on the other. So once you clarify that vision and you know what you're focusing on, you'll begin to create goals for those focused ministry priorities, right? You're going to write some clear, smart goals for your church. Some of us do this at work, but we're going to bring that discipline into ministry because we need that same level of clarity in ministry that we have professionally in our careers. So that's the month of December. And then in January, at the top of the year, we're going to talk about vision castings and what they are, how to energize, mobilize, and encourage your entire church to support and lend their skills, talents, and abilities to the vision that you are creating through this learning community. That's in the month of January. I meant to change this to February. I just see the error. In February, we'll be talking about strategy. We're going to actually create an action plan around your goals. And then in the month of March, we'll invite you to invite all of the leaders from your church to come on the second Saturday in March and join us for Leadership Development Day. It's going to be a time of impartation and inspiration for our leaders. And we have separate sessions. We do one for the pastors, right? Pastoral leaders will have an inspirational moment. And then our congregational leaders will be in a separate Zoom community in order to receive equipping and releasing to lead as volunteers. And the entire experience will wrap up doing what we call vision casting events. Each church will be provided with a mini grant in order to host a vision casting event at your local church. And this is designed to introduce, to share, to cast this new vision, this reimagined vision for your church to your entire congregation. We want to make sure everybody knows what this church is about now, what your goals are going to be, what your action plan is to get it done, what your ministry priorities are. And then we want to give them an opportunity to contribute to that in some way, shape, or form. So ways you can do that is have them sign up to work on one of those areas, or have people recommit to serving in the church and allow them to serve and sign up to serve in any area of ministry. Or maybe it's having them serve on a task force or a committee, but we want to give them something they can do, something they can put their hands to actually make the vision come to pass, right? And those will be scheduled in the month of April and the early part of May. We'd like to have them all done by the early part of May. And at those events, we'll also make sure that each team is completing an evaluation of the learning community experience. You'll be receiving awards and recognition and the entire thing. And what we've done last year is we've made the conference, the Stronger Churches Conference, available to participants in the learning community for free. So there may be the opportunity for you to attend the actual annual conference as well as part of your participation in the learning community. So you may be thinking, what are the next steps? Well, the first thing I would say, you would want to pray about this opportunity. Is this right for your church? It's the right time for you guys to do something like this. The second thing I would do is really decide on and make a list of those key leaders that may make good team members. We're only able to take on 5 team members, okay? So we can't accept more than 5 people from your church. So keep that in mind. Try to choose a team that's diverse. Everyone doesn't have to currently be in leadership at your church to be considered for this team. You may have some young people in your church, some young adults in your church that are innovative, that are creative, that are thinking differently, that may be able to bring something to the vision of your church that you haven't previously considered. Likewise, you want to make sure that you've got the elders of the church, the seasoned saints, the salt and pepper saints. Some of them are part of this as well. You want to have a diverse team. We encourage you to share with your congregation as you go through this. Engage them. Let them know. Let your leadership teams know, your boards or your trustees or your deacons, your stewards, whatever you have at your churches. Share it with them. Share the opportunity with them and get them engaged with praying about this opportunity, right? For favor of God and for the congregation to be ready and for the leadership team to be open. We want you to apply for the community. You can head over to our website to actually apply for the community. And then mark your calendars to attend. Once you receive an acceptance from us, mark your calendars to attend the opening retreat. So I've said a lot. I'm going to head over to the chat and let's see what we have over in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment.
There's a couple things there.
How many people is suggested to be on the team? I believe we said 5 people on the team.
Yep.
I do want to go back and share the website page for you, just in case you haven't taken a look at the learning community on our website. I want to hide this bar because there we go. We have the information here. You can view the application here to help you get prepared. I absolutely recommend you do that. Try to prep your responses so that you can just cut and paste them into the Google form. It'll make the application process go so much faster for you. There are all of the modules there that we're going to talk about. There's no cost. Oh, I haven't put the button here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I will put the button here so that you can actually apply. I'll do that after the meeting. I thought that was already there, but it's not there at the moment.
So, Dr.
So
Williams, can you go back to that slide that you just
yeah,
shared? Keep going down. Nope, it was about the cost.
the cost.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a free experience for congregations that are accepted to the learning community. Yeah. The retreat is going to be sponsored by us. We'll take you away. We also have a conflict resolution specialist that's going to talk to you guys about working as a team and what to do when you don't agree. Our coaches will be there, so you'll be able to meet all of the coaches and interact with them. They'll be leading some of the sessions and explaining the coaching and how that works to you guys. We're going to get to know each other. We'll have a great time at the retreat. And yeah, everything involved with this program is provided to the congregations at no cost. So how many of you guys are excited about the opportunity and you want to apply for this? I'm actually going to drop the link in here for you. You guys are going to be among the first folks to actually be able to do this application. It was out there, but I guess the link has been hidden. Let's see, forms. I know it's taking, oh, wrong Google account. Let me get into the right Google account. There we go. Here it is. I'm going to drop this in the link for you guys. This is the actual Google form. You will need to put your responses in. If anyone is having an issue, please email me and let me know that you're experiencing an issue. There we go. Google had a little moment. Here we go. Here's the application form link. The button will be there in about 10 minutes after I close the Zoom, and I'll make sure that you guys can access the actual application form. Are there any questions about the application form?
Dr. Williams, there is a question on the chat. Crystal raises a question about the retreat.
Yes, Crystal. Well, I am in the final stages of deciding upon the actual location. Hood's campus is under consideration. We would need a majority of your team to be present for the retreat. So as many people who can do it, please do it. Come to the retreat because that's the grounding moment, really. That's where you really learn how this program is going to work. And I think it's going to be difficult to really be keyed in to the experience if you're not present for the experience. We'll definitely consider what we can do around providing virtual access for those who absolutely cannot attend. But I would encourage everyone who can make it happen to make it happen and come. The event, yes, so I should be able to provide, Crystal, that information for you, hopefully early part of next week.
And I think as Dr. Williams highlighted, at the retreat, there are going to be some critical components of the modules that will be taught. You know, as Dr. Williams mentioned, you know, clarity of vision and conflict resolution. Those are really important things that you don't want to miss.
Yeah. So if they want a voice at the table about the vision of your church, what that vision statement sounds like, your core values and developing your core values for your congregation, they would definitely want to be at the retreat because we're going to do that part there.
Yep. Kind of like working sessions as opposed to just listening.
Now, there will be an opportunity for you to go back to your team and refine it a little further. But I wouldn't advise that you completely start over because one person didn't show up and now, you know, everything gets tossed. It's a priority. Let's talk about attendance expectations because that just kind of brought that to the forefront. It's really critical that your team members are committed to meeting with us on Saturday mornings. It's second Saturday of every month between November and March, okay? We meet from 10 to 12 on Zoom, so it's online. I recommend that each individual person sign on from their local device. It's more difficult if the entire group is sharing or in one shared space. It's hard for us to hear you and really interact with you, and you really receive the best benefit of the experience that way. So have your devices ready, be ready. And we also, bring alongside this experience the opportunity to have your coach, but we also provide other resources for your churches. Part of this experience, we deeply encourage congregational prayer, a clear strategy for praying this whole experience through. You want to involve your congregation, and prayer is one of the most pivotal ways that you can bring everyone in, from the trustee board to the youth ministry, right? Everybody can gather around congregational prayer. And that's so important to this experience.
And the experience also allows you as a team to additionally bond going forward. Dr. Williams mentioned that you'll have the opportunity to work with, 5 churches, 5 team members per church. That's 25 people and your coaches, all being able to share, learning between each other and experiences between each other. And so that's why it's really so important for us all to kind of be together.
Yeah. I think relationship building is key in all of this, because sometimes when you're just at your church plowing away, you feel isolated. Sometimes the best ideas are ones you don't come up with. You may be sparked by something someone else says. And so being in this collaborative learning community gives you the opportunity to really engage other leaders, hear from other pastors, hear from other stewards, hear from other church volunteers about what they're doing at their churches, and what their challenges are. Because sometimes you just need to know you're not the only one, right? You're not the only one. So that's important as well. Our application deadline was August 25th, and now that I realize the button hasn't been on the website, I'm going to push back the deadline just a little bit and give you more time to complete your applications, okay? If you have any questions after this event, I will send you an office hours link where you can set up some time to ask any specific questions that your congregation or your leadership team may have about the learning community and what's available for you. And I encourage you guys to head over to our website. We're also currently accepting participants in our innovation lab. It teaches churches how to create a culture of innovation in their church. And the most valuable sessions in that for me were creating multiple streams of income, because tithe and offerings are not going to be able to fund the entirety of our vision, right? So God has other ways and other tools that we can use to fund and finance ministry and mission, right? So that's an important, a really great opportunity to get some training and some learning in. So if you haven't checked out Innovation Lab, it's open. It's also, the registration is on Eventbrite, and you can sign up there to join the lab experience. That starts September 7th. Innovation Lab starts September 7th.
Great.
All right, are there any other questions? Well, fantastic.
All right. Well, we want to thank each of you for attending today. Again, reach out to us with questions. Go to the website, and we really look forward to working with you. This is a wonderful experience, and we really want to engage with you as you seek to do God's will.
Fantastic. I am answering the last question about PowerPoint presentation. I can forward that to you. If you did not register on Eventbrite and you just showed up here, drop your email quickly in the chat below so that I can capture that and make sure you're included on the distribution for those resources. Hopefully everyone who's here came to the Eventbrite portal to meet us today. So that should be great. But if by chance you didn't, don't leave before dropping your email for me. Well, fantastic. You guys have an amazing Thursday and a great weekend this weekend. We look forward to hearing from each and every one of you about your amazing churches. Oh, LaShonda, if you open up, I can write it down. If you open your mic and tell it to me, I can write it down for you. Where's my Sharpie?
Hi, thank you so much. I came through Eventbrite, so my email address is there.
Oh, okay, then you're fine. You're fine. All right.
I've just been driving, so I haven't been able to communicate through the chat.
Okay, did you have any questions that we didn't address?
No, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. We'll see you all later. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.